Hello and welcome to the JB&M Sports Fanatic channel. Thank you for joining me for this video. And yeah, with the NBA, a lot of teams are already thinking about the off season. Some teams have already begun their off season, and all the Clippers are still at this very moment in the playoffs and very much alive. For Kawhi, he may be thinking about the off season. And so we're going to discuss here, the possibility in which, according to this right here by Sports Not, it seems like Kawhi Leonard, he's likely to resign with the LA Clippers, but there are four potential suitors that may become intriguing enough for him. So if I'm Kawhi, I'm probably thinking, okay, so I've been here now 2 years, and say the Clippers, fail to go out there and win a championship this year. And so that would be 2 years in which he failed. And so obviously they haven't had the success that he thought between him and Paul George. I mean, PG has looked great lately, without him. But in terms of the two of them, I'm not sure how he really feels about that scenario. Obviously, what happened last year, that's something they have to put behind them. But in terms of just, the possibilities, it is not yet known whether, the Clippers superstar will return during the Western Conference semifinals. Of course, they go on to say against the Phoenix Suns after he sustained that knee injury in the previous round. That knee injury is also going to be something to keep an eye on in terms of, how if he does not come back, how does that recovery go? Is he going to be the same player? Those are questions that you always have to ask. Although I'm pretty sure that he'll come back and be, the same Kawhi that we know, but you just never know until you know. The initial reports indicated that Leonard was dealing with some type of ACL injury, but words that, neither a player or a team wants to see come up. But they're saying that, since then, there's been very little updates on his status outside of him being sidelined indefinitely. And that's very true, because it seems like there's absolutely no word. And with Kawhi, he likes to keep a lot of, information as close as shut as possible. I remember when he was hurt with the Spurs, and you ask the Spurs players at that time, they'll tell you, you got to ask Kawhi, because like they were kept in the dark in terms of, what's actually taking place. So Kawhi, he does not like to put that out there, so people speculate and try to put a time frame on there. He'll be out there when he's ready, and he will not be back a moment sooner than when he's feeling 100% or close to 100%, I'd imagine. But there is still that possibility that he becomes a free agent. It's very likely that this summer he could opt to decline his 36 million option for the 2021-2022 season. I mean, a lot of players do that. Typically, they'll go ahead and re-sign another contract, which is still a very good possibility that he could re-sign with the Clippers. But, it appears that, according to what they're saying here, is that things could very much still be up in the air. And some of the teams that they're listing here in terms of potential suitors, should Kawhi choose to leave the Clippers, would be teams such as Golden State. Now imagine, him, Steph Curry, you got Klay Thompson coming back. I mean, that would be a scary lineup there. The Dallas Mavericks, that would be extremely interesting, considering that they did put out the Dallas Mavericks if he were to team up with Luka down there. The Miami Heat, so I find that one to be really intriguing, depending on the narrative that he wants to present. I mean, they've got Jimmy Butler down there. Jimmy and the Heat, they play that hard-nosed type of sound, the defensive basketball. And so if you add a guy like Kawhi, I mean, that's really giving, Pat Riley and company really something to work with down there in Miami. And so they're already a great team in terms of, constantly making the playoffs. They were just in the finals 2 seasons ago, although it was, due to the whole pandemic situation, but still, day wise to the occasion. And so he certainly would look good there. And then the New York Knicks, they throw out there as well. So, they want a big market type of place. So we'll see, how this plays out. But it's certainly, these are some four interesting teams to consider, in which I do think that he's going to take some time and at least think about it. And we'll have to wait and see how that plays out in terms of when he makes his decision. But yeah, certainly a lot to happen. Now they go on to state, in their opinion, that they just don't see, the Golden State Warriors happening, as far as Kawhi going there. And honestly, I agree with that, even though this is just speculation at this point. But as much as on paper that would look good, you saw what happened when Durant went down there. I mean, outside of, probably some people, a lot of people really just looked at Durant like he was just, joining a good team. And yeah, that's not the narrative Kawhi wants. Otherwise, he would have joined the Lakers when he had the opportunity. So definitely that doesn't make sense. They say that the Dallas Mavericks is a reasonable possibility. I could somewhat see that. I don't think that they'd be his first choice, but I could somewhat see that being a possibility. Obviously the Dallas Mavericks will be taking a different direction, letting with the resignation of their longtime coach, Rick Carlisle, obviously, and so they'll be taking a different direction. So, but that'll be an interesting one there. They said that the Miami Heat are the best fit, and honestly, I could honestly see the Miami Heat as well being that top tier team that he would want to go play for. You know what Pat Riley can do with a guy of his similar talent. We saw what he was able to do when they had LeBron James, Dwayne Wade. So you give him someone like Kawhi in addition to what they've already got down there in Miami, and that team would definitely be stacked. Not to mention you'll be in the Eastern Conference, which I mean, hey, he proved in Toronto, he can be the beast in the East down there, especially, I mean, that side seems like it's more doable. Although I will say you still have the Brooklyn Nets to go through now, so things are different for the Eastern Conference. But with that being said, though, you like him in Miami, that would seem like a very good fit down there. Um, and then they say that it could happen with the New York Knicks. Again, if that does happen, he's probably thinking more about his brand, if he were to go down there to the Knicks and help elevate what they've already got down there, which they've got some solid pieces. So they could, on paper, they could certainly use someone like Kawhi. So I could see it as well. But again, I think that the Miami Heat are probably the most realistic expectation for Kawhi should he leave the LA Clippers. That's what I think would make the most sense of these teams. But yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments. Certainly looking forward to hearing from you guys. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and definitely if you guys enjoy these types of videos, I can certainly, continue to post these types, but certainly let me know what you guys think. Where do you guys think he's going to end up next year? Should he remain with the Clippers? Should he go elsewhere? Is there another team that perhaps wasn't mentioned that you think would be a good fit? Let me know. I definitely would love to hear it. But thank you so much for joining me for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and as always, as more stuff continues to happen, you can be sure to find it here. So thanks again for watching, and see you guys next time.